Welcome back, everybody. I'm glad you're here if you're live, and if you're watching the replay, welcome you also. Up to this point, we've talked about sleep as its own topic, but here's the shift I want you to make today. Sleep is not a separate system. It's the result of how you live your entire day. Your body is running on a 24-hour clock, whether you pay attention to it or not. Every system we've talked about so far, your digestion, your hormones, your energy, even your cravings, they're all tied to timing. So if things feel off, if you're bloated, you're tired, waking up at 3 a.m. or dealing with some hormone issues, then it's not just what you're doing, it's when you're doing it. And most people completely ignore that fact. They eat at random times, snacking all day, stay up late under artificial light, and then they wonder why their body feels out of sync. Your body expects things to happen at certain times. And when that timing gets disrupted, everything else starts to fall apart as well. So today we're going to fix that. We're going to move from thinking about sleep hygiene to understanding how to live in a way that actually supports your biology across the full 24-hour cycle. So I'm going to show you something you may have seen before. This is often called the traditional Chinese medicine body clock. Now it looks very busy, but it's also very interesting. I'm not using this as a strict, this organ does this at this exact hour model, but it's really a useful way to visualize something important. Your body is not doing the same thing all day long. Different systems are more active at different times of the day. Modern physiology supports this idea. You have a master clock in your brain that regulates the circadian rhythm. It's the suprachiasmatic nucleus. And it coordinates digestion, hormone release, detoxification, and repair. Everything runs on timing. So when you eat late at night, or you're snacking constantly, or you stay up under artificial light, you're not just making random choices, you're sending signals at the wrong time. And that's where problems start showing up. This is why some of you feel bloated after meals. You wake up at the same time every night. You crash in the afternoon, or you feel wired late at night. And your body is not broken. It's just out of rhythm. It's out of sync. And once that rhythm is off, everything downstream gets disrupted as well. So now that you understand your body runs on the clock, you might realize that this is where most people get it wrong. They eat whenever, no structure, no timing, just that constant input. Your metabolism is not the same at 9 a.m. as it is at 9 p.m. During the day, your body is designed to process food and use energy and handle blood sugar efficiently. At night, it shifts into a completely different mode. It wants to repair and detoxify and regulate hormones. And here's where the problem comes in. A lot of people are eating late into the evening, sometimes right up until they go to bed. Sometimes they even snack in the bed. Now you've got two competing signals. Melatonin is rising, telling your body shut things down, but food intake is telling your body ramp things up. And those two don't work well together. This is where we see some bloating at night, maybe reflux, poor sleep, even those 2 to 3 a.m. wake ups. And then during the day, then again, you're fatigued because you didn't get good rest, so you're constantly snacking, you're not getting any real breaks, which just means that your body never fully processes one meal before the next one comes in. So you're basically asking your system to multitask all day long, and it doesn't do that well. I mean, we ourselves don't do multitasking well, so we can't expect our bodies to do it well either. And so it really needs clear signals when to eat and when to stop eating so it can actually do its job to be more effective. And if your timing is off, your symptoms will, of course, reflect that. This is one of the most important concepts for the gut health part. And Almost nobody is really talking about it. It's called the migrating motor complex, or the MMC. You can think of this as your gut's internal cleaning cycle. Between meals, when you're not eating, your digestive system goes into cleanup mode. It sweeps through the small intestines and even the colon and clears out leftover food, some extra bacteria, and other debris. This is how your body prevents things from building up where they shouldn't. Now, here's the problem. The system only works when you stop eating for at least 3 hours. Every time you snack, even if it's just something small, you shut that process off and then it has to start over again. So if you're eating every 1 to 2 hours, your gut never actually gets a chance to clean itself throughout the day. This is where we start to see that bloating, the gas, sluggish digestion, even in many cases SIBO, comes from this inhibition of the migrating motor complex. So when people tell me they're eating small, frequent meals to help digestion, they're actually potentially making the problem worse. Your gut doesn't need constant input. It needs space. This is why I'm a proponent of 3 solid meals with 3 to 4 hours in between and minimal snacking. That gap between the meals really isn't optional. That's when your body does its best work. And if you don't give it that time, you're constantly interrupting that very process that keeps your digestion functioning properly and regularly. So we just talked about how your gut has a rhythm. It has specific times where it's designed to work and specific times where it's designed to rest and repair. And your hormones have work exactly the same way. They're also not random. They also follow a schedule that's based on the circadian rhythm. Cortisol should rise in the morning, and that's what helps you wake up and feel alert and have energy to start your day. And then it should gradually fall throughout the day. And at night, then melatonin should rise, and that's your signal for sleep and repair and recovery. Now, here's where people get into trouble. If your timing is off, your light exposure, you're eating late, or you have an inconsistent schedule, those rhythms start to drift. So instead of alert in the morning and sleepy at night, you get tired in the morning and wired at night, the complete opposite. And that's then where people start to feel stuck. Now, we could go a lot deeper here. Other hormones follow rhythms too, your insulin, your thyroid, your sex hormones, but they all depend on this foundation. So if your circadian rhythm is off, everything downstream gets also affected. This is where we start to see fatigue, hormone imbalances, poor sleep, weight gain that won't budge. That's a big one. And your body just isn't random. It's rhythmic. It needs to have that rhythm that's regulated by light exposure and by the circadian clock. So if you ignore that rhythm, your hormones will of course reflect that. So now let's talk about what actually disrupts this. You probably can already guess because I've already touched on it a little bit. Most people don't have a broken body. They just have broken patterns. The first is, of course, the constant snacking. We already talked about this with the migrating motor complex. If you're eating all day, your gut never gets a break and your blood sugar is constantly fluctuating and your body never settles into a clear rhythm. Second is the late night eating. You're sending a signal to your body to stay active at the exact time when it's trying to shut down. And that mismatch shows up as poor sleep and reflux and those middle of the night wake ups. Third is the irregular schedules, different wake up times, different meal times, different bedtimes. Your body can't predict what's coming next. And your biology thrives on predictability. You could almost look at it like children. When you take children out of their daily rhythm, then they start to behave unruly. Maybe they're irritable and cranky. And it's the same thing with your body. It loves rhythm, it loves regularity, it loves the schedule. And if your schedule is all over the place, your hormones and digestions will be too. And then finally is light exposure at the wrong time. Bright light late at night. Wow, that was a lot of else. Screens right before bed. You're telling your brain it's still daytime. And so it delays the entire sleep and repair process. And none of this is really complicated, but it is consistent. If you keep sending mixed signals, your body will keep giving you mixed results. Now, let's bring this all together into something simple and actionable. This is where most people go wrong. They understand the concept, but they don't apply it. So here's your baseline. You want to eat 3 meals per day, not six, not constant grazing. Give your body clear signals, fuel, and then rest. Leave 3 to 4 hours between meals, and that gap is not optional. That's where your gut does its cleanup work and your blood sugar stabilizes. And if you're thinking there's no way I can do this, I'll be hangry all day. I encourage you to go back to the video called Food First, where I talk about how to solve that issue, how to stay satiated throughout the day. Next, you want to finish eating 2 to 3 hours before bed. If you're eating right before sleep, you're forcing your body to digest when it should be recovering. And then lastly, let's talk about light. This is a big one. Go outside in the morning within 30 minutes of waking if possible. So you're telling your brain this is daytime. That sets your entire circadian rhythm for the day. And then at night, dim the lights. Reduce that stimulation. Give your body the signal that the day is over. Now, I want to be clear, this is not about perfection. I say this all the time. This is really about consistency. If you do these things on most days, your body will respond. Your digestion will improve, your sleep will improve, your energy will be more steady because you're no longer fighting against your biology. You're working with it. And if you're listening to this and thinking, this is great, but I still feel stuck, that's where we can go deeper because sometimes timing alone isn't enough. That's where we can look at the full picture with labs, history, symptoms, and we can figure out exactly what's driving your specific issues. But this really is the foundation. If you're not doing these basic things, nothing else you're doing is going to stick or will matter greatly. So, like I said, this is the foundation that everything else builds on. And for some of you, this alone will move the needle. But like I said, if you're still dealing with symptoms, that's where things need to be more personalized because your symptoms are clues. They tell us what's actually going on under the surface. And that's what I do in my one-on-one work with clients. But in the meantime, let me know your questions and leave some comments below. And with that, I'll see you next time.